Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
Here we are. Episode 6. Westworld. Decoherence. What does decoherence mean? I should have looked that up.
You have been...
If something is coherent, it makes sense, right?
Right. So decoherent is when your coherence has been taken away.
Okay.
It's like you had it before, but now it's gone.
Well, here we go. Quantum decoherence is the loss of quantum coherence.
I hate that.
That's good science right there. What causes decoherence? So it's a result of the wave functions of a system. Decoherence, that fell apart fast.
Okay.
It's fine. I think it's just shit's falling apart.
Yes. It was together and now it's falling apart.
Why didn't they just call it that?
Shit's falling apart.
They're so snooty with their episode titles. You hear me? You hear me, HBO? Snooty.
You know, they used the thesaurus.
Just call it what it is. That's all I'm asking for.
They did. It's decoherent. It's a lot less words than what you said.
Shit's falling apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about words. They're not on a, it's not like a tweet where you're going to max out your characters. I think Shit's Falling Apart would have been a great episode title.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of new viewers would have come in too, like, what? What? What's Westworld? I don't know what it is, but I want to see what Shit's Falling Apart. And it really did. I mean,
yes, it did.
It's quite an episode. So I think we can just get right into it, unless there's anything else we should be talking about. I don't think so. Nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to my mind either at the moment. I'm sure it will along the way, because it always does.
You all have been quiet. We'd love to hear your thoughts. I can see you out there downloading, everybody. I know you're out there. Just tell us what you think. That's all I'm asking.
About anything.
Literally anything. You want to talk about a book you just read that's really great? Just hit us up. We watched the making of part afterwards. So the first note at the top of my page, because I was already done taking notes for the episode, I just had to write this in quotes of Charlores.
Charlores is what they're calling her.
I don't like it as much as mine.
What was yours?
Ours. Charlores.
Helloris.
Hey, well, is it Halloris or
Halloris?
Halloris?
It doesn't matter.
Because she's Charlotte Hale.
Halloris.
You hear me, HBO people? Charlores is better.
Okay.
You guys got to start listening.
Okay. Is that all? I thought you were actually going to comment on Tandy Newton's name.
Oh, right. Right. Well, I see. It didn't even really hit me that hard because I knew.
Because you knew all along
people
that it was
saying,
not Thandy.
I've heard Thandy on the radio. Just people talk.
T-Handy?
I've never heard anyone say T-Handy. Please tell me that's not what you were saying in your head.
I can hear the cat scratching the carpet.
It's a bad cat.
Okay.
All right, let's focus on the episode.
Okay.
I broke it up sort of into character, but Maeve and Charlores, they had a lot of crisscross at the end. So I figured we could start with the easy part. Easy, so to speak, of William. Where
that's a ride.
Many questions continue to go unanswered.
Yeah. Is it real or is it Memorex?
Memorex? I still think it's Memorex, but we'll see.
Well, yes. Jeez.
They're not letting us figure it out for a while.
Well, actually, we did figure it out at the end.
What? Did we?
This whole episode was.
Maybe.
Well,
did we? All right. Well, let's talk about it. Because they had me thinking he was human for a while, but I don't think he is. All right. We start his portion of this episode in a support group. And there's some guy talking about how he's on his routine, going through his day, and
I'm in my loop.
People won't even notice if he's not there.
Right.
He didn't. I don't think he said the word loop, but it was very close.
He was probably doing my routine. I'm in my routine or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. He was describing everything that the show has been talking about this whole time. But of course, he was talking about his depression. Right. And he says something about, his coping mechanisms, right? The techniques they talked about. And one of them was like trying to accept that everything is happening for a reason. It's all part of God's plan. And that sets off Willie. Mr. William.
Yes.
I wrote Willie a lot because it's faster than writing William.
Okay.
So Willie starts scoffing.
No, don't call him Willie.
I scoff at your God's plan, you fools. And goes off on this long tirade.
Right. God's not real, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, the one
is what he was really getting at.
Well, and what's our purpose on this planet? I think was also just nothing, right?
Right. We're like a bacteria or a maggot. Is what he said.
Yeah, that's the one I wrote down.
Which is true.
That one made me laugh.
It's so true and depressing.
Well, those people didn't seem to like it much. He said we're maggots eating a corpse, and yeah, he made some girl cry.
Yeah, well, she was depressed anyway.
Well, yeah, but still.
I mean, like already. So it wasn't that hard to make her cry.
He was wearing a glove. And after he makes the girl cry, he goes into this one-on-one therapy session and he starts scratching at his hand. We get to
see his icky hand. So, missing his index and middle finger. Two really important fingers.
Was it his index finger? That would be his trigger finger. Maybe I saw it, but I thought it was his ring and his pinky. But you might be right because he could shoot a gun probably.
I might be wrong.
It would be harder to hold on to the gun.
Now, damn it, we have to go look again.
No, we do not have to go look again. This is we already figured out.
I'm sure we'll see it sometime in the future.
But what did you make of the look of his hand? I mean, it doesn't look robotic.
It's skin, like scorched.
It looks like Freddy Krueger skin. Yeah, kind of, right?
Well, yeah, all the top layer got burned off
by the little mini explosion.
And so that glove must be like a special healing glove. It looks like a big,
and that's why it was itchy.
Mickey Mouse glove. Well, his hand's probably itchy from healing or just being chronically damaged. But the glove probably is some kind of sort of soothing medicinal glove.
It was very brief, but it was the closest that we've gotten to seeing his hand in its condition since it exploded.
Yeah, we got a good shot of it.
Yeah. So he's now in a one-on-one therapy session, and the therapist is trying to talk about Emily, and her phone's buzzing the whole time.
Right.
Really just rude.
Super professional
she
lady.
Couldn't have put it on Do Not Disturb. I can do that to record a podcast.
The first
I don't have a
2 times, hit Do Not Disturb. If you're really not going to answer it.
Yeah, that would be good. But she didn't.
She was a quiet talker.
So that she wants to talk about Emily. He doesn't want to talk about Emily because she doesn't know what happened, but he knows what happened. And he's
and he's weird about it.
Weird about murdering his daughter? Yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't taking the blame for it.
We said he was confused. Right?
Well, he eventually, it's like he went from being hard-ass William all of a sudden to being a normal human being William.
Well, he's very unstable right now.
I guess the therapy is working.
Or maybe the therapy is working.
That horrible therapy.
Well, and she says she wants to put him in a special therapy for PTSD because he's not dealing with his feelings properly. And she types into her computer that she assigned him to AR therapy.
Right.
Now, when I see AR, I think of augmented reality.
I think of accelerated reader.
Good point. That's something our kids have to do. It didn't occur to me in this context, though. Accelerated reader therapy.
Yeah, that's what, it's...
And that's what happened to him, I guess, although it seemed more like VR than AR. Augmented reality is like when...
You're he was in a real room.
I guess. Augmented reality is and you see it on your phone sometimes, it'll be the camera. I think Pokemon Go would do it, right? You hold your camera up to the world and then you see a Pokemon appear and then you have to fling a ball at it.
Right.
So that's augmented reality on a very basic level. Of course, this is the future. But I would think that the other goggles that we've seen in action, the ones where you see someone appear right next to you, but you're still sort of in the real place. I think that would be more anyway.
What's that called?
The goggles?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I would have thought it was augmented reality of some form, but they haven't given it a name in the show. he doesn't think he should go to therapy. He just thinks he should be dead.
Right.
That was not.
He doesn't need therapy.
I think he said he belongs in a pine box. That's the only thing he deserves right now. So then the doctor looks at her phone.
Finally.
And starts losing her mind. It all went by very fast. Even though we watched it twice, it went by very fast. But it appears that this was shortly after Rehoboam's onslaught. And
her husband must have read her profile.
I guess so. Or saw in his profile enough of like, this is who you're married to. And it's, she had many risk factors, including affairs with multiple patients.
Right.
Not cool. So he's like texting her, like, I'm leaving with the kids. Don't look for me or something like that. It's
flashing on her screen.
Right.
Divorced. Custody loss.
Can you get divorced that quickly in the future? So. That's impressive.
Wow.
That is impressive.
Just a push of a button.
They've done away with the bureaucracy. I mean, I'm kind of like that. Is that worth sacrificing my free will for? I don't know. Maybe. So her husband's leaving. She walked out. And next we get William in a chair. It looked like he was going to have his teeth cleaned, maybe, except very uncomfortably. Like his mouth was super stretched.
Right. Couldn't they be a little more gentle? Like, did they need it that wide?
And then it seemed like...
all they did was put that thing up there.
Well, first they took a blood sample, which is where I was like, why did they... if they could tie him to a chair, fine, but why did they have to stretch his mouth open just to get a blood sample?
Right. Well, they were doing something in there, and we didn't know what. You thought he was just getting like a cleaning.
It was a 6 month checkup. Come on. It's the future. They wouldn't let anyone go more than 6 months without a checkup. The nurse lady or phlebotomist, whatever she was, took the blood sample to a machine and started analyzing and then walked away, even as the results are coming up on the screen. And there was something in there about an uncertain protein, and then it started flashing up something about a data breach. I don't know. We do find out later that I think this all goes to when Charlotte pricked his neck at the end of the last episode, that she must have put a tracking something in his blood. So maybe that's what the uncertain protein was, but it also could be that he's a fucking robot. Which one is it?
I don't know. I thought immediately that robot.
I thought that too until the end of the episode when we found out about someone who had a tracking system in their blood.
We'll see.
They never named his name in that particular context, so fucking, I don't know. And then the mouth implant. Would you like to describe that? It looked fun.
Well, it's like a metal tattoo on the roof of your mouth. Just screwed it in.
It screwed itself in.
Screwed itself in, right? It's got self-screwing screws.
Ed Harris made it look painful.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have better technique for this. Everybody gets them, right?
Oh, I mean, it was just a one-shot thing. Worked really efficiently. You'd think they could have numbed the roof of his mouth first.
So this is to administer medication.
Well, is it? That's the thing.
Is it in the shape of the maze?
No, it would just look more like the you know, if you feel the texture of your palate. Yeah. Is it to administer drugs? We thought it was when Caleb had one in his mouth and they activated it.
Sending some kind of electrical signals to your brain.
Yeah. Well, it could be doing any number of things. We don't really know. Like, it couldn't possibly have an unlimited supply of drugs in it. So I was thinking with Caleb that it was a device intended to activate his, like, adrenal glands or something to make him a better fighter. Right.
Maybe if we paid more attention earlier when they were talking about his soldier time, we would have... I know they talked about it, like, once before.
There was something about him having not kept his
thing
implant active.
Right.
That it was not active. And that his friend, who wasn't really there, thought he was, you know, crazy for not keeping it active. I thought at that time it was a tracking mechanism. And then we saw that it seemed to be kind of related to some kind of drug thing, maybe.
And he keeps putting that thing in his mouth.
But here's my question, though. What if it's something else? We think Caleb was experimented on, probably by Sirach and his, like, you know, edit people stuff, right?
Right. I thought he might be like half robot or something. Oh. That's what I thought. Ooh. I don't know that I think that anymore.
Well, now we saw that it got implanted, so he's probably not half robot. But I was just thinking maybe it has nothing to do with being in the military at all.
Right.
And maybe...
I thought it was a societal thing.
Maybe it can give you flashbacks. Maybe it can, show you things. Maybe it's part of the whole augmented reality thing. Because Caleb has a lot of flashbacks. Maybe it's not PTSD. Maybe that friend of his never even existed. Maybe he was never even in the military, but it was all fed to him through that mouth thing. That would be something.
Maybe it's how they communicate to the pads. The tablets that they have on everybody.
Well, then everybody would need a mouth thing.
I know. I think maybe they get them.
Oh, and like William was like the one guy that didn't have a mouth thing because he was so powerful?
Right. Maybe he created the mouth thing.
That could be an option. I don't know.
Too many unknowns right now.
There are a lot of unknowns. Yeah, they really raised more new questions than they answered. What else was there? Oh, and after they sedate him a little bit, then get him going back to his holding tank of some sort, they walk by his therapist's office. And she's stepping up on the desk.
Oh, so sad.
Looks like she took herself out.
They did a good job of the hanging, like watching her feet jerk and stuff. I thought. Yeah. I wonder who, she probably like held her hands up or something.
Well, they'll make you a harness.
Held on to maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a harness for a fake hanging. They do that all the time in movies. So then we meet Dr. Alpert. I have a feeling we're not going to meet him again, but whatever. I wrote his name down. He puts goggles on. William's strapped to a fucking chair now. They put goggles on him, and as soon as the goggles happen, a kid enters, and we figure out pretty quickly that it's Kid William.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he seems terrified to confront this part of himself.
Right. And all we see, and before William starts freaking out, is the kid's bedroom. He hears his dad come home. His dad's like, "Where is he? Where's the boy?" And mom's like, no, calm down. And then William starts losing his mind.
Right.
To a point where he like snaps himself out of it.
Yeah, he's like, no. He's flipping out. Right. Stop this. Get me out of here. And then they came in and did get him out of there.
Well,
that's when he bit that guy's finger off.
Right. Which I thought was pretty good comedy because they said the implant's not working. Oh, the implant's not working. So maybe it is drugs. Fuck, I don't know. The implant's not working. We're going to have to manually sedate him. And manual specifically indicates by hand.
Oh, because they don't have injections anymore?
I guess not.
Maybe they did away with maybe that's how they cure heroin now. Like the use of heroin, they stopped making needles.
And then you can just swallow it.
Right.
Just put it on your tongue.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, they did wind up getting something on his tongue to sedate him eventually. But he did bite a guy's finger off. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
And that leads us to his next scene. Let me just flip my pages here.
I bet that was a fun character to play for Ed Harris. Is it Ed Harris?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's another guy I get him confused with.
Ed Helms?
Yes.
Really?
Maybe? No. No, a guy that looks like him.
Oh. Okay. Well, you'll have to figure out who that is and tell us.
Alrighty.
At some point. So William wakes up in a group therapy session. He's like in his room and he has to walk to a group therapy session, but something's fucked up because he probably wasn't walking anywhere. Is that your phone?
My battery's low.
You didn't even silence your phone for a
podcast. I did silence it. The battery doesn't, it has its own, I don't know.
This group therapy session is a room full of Williams.
Right.
This actually feels just as much like Pokemon as the AR reference earlier. So we've got white clad William. We've got Tuxedo William. It's kind of like Rick and Morty, like all the different Mortys. We got Tuxedo William. We've got Young William. We've got Kid William. And we've got Man in Black William.
Right.
And the group therapy session has to be led by, I think it's James Delos. He's back.
Right. So they put these goggles on him, glasses on him, and he manufactures all of these.
Other Williams?
I
guess so.
I guess.
This is how he's going to work out his problems, by talking to other versions of himself.
Just like Luke did.
Luke?
Confronting himself, his future self, or whatever. Yeah, right?
You're talking Skywalker.
Yeah.
In the domain of evil on Dagobah.
Right. He had to confront himself to...
Man, you're such a nerd.
to find out who he truly was, good or bad.
Uh-huh.
Just like Luke. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. All stories are tied together.
Well, yeah, kind of. The hero's journey. I mean, there's certain storytelling elements to almost all movies and books and everything.
He fucked up his hand.
Oh my God, you're right.
And he's wearing a glove now.
Oh my God. You're right.
It's a funny looking glove.
He's basically William Skywalker. Wow. Well, William and the Skywalkers, they have a whole lot of banter. I mean, I wouldn't say there's anything worth discussing in this. They're all just blaming each other for their own shit. But eventually they get talking about William's violent urges.
Right.
Uh-huh.
We thought he was a sweet guy until William, we thought he was sweet until he came and encountered the park.
Right. And then they talked about, I don't remember if it was season 1 or 2, but they talked about at some point how he was a model citizen outside the park. It was in the park where he came to just let his evil out.
Right.
Yeah.
But no.
So we get the kid has to confront, the door opens up to the kid's bedroom, same bedroom we saw a few minutes ago. Kid has to, I wrote kid Will has to go get his beating, but
right.
I had already written that and it's in ink, so I can't undo that now. But it turns out they gave us a little twisty twist, didn't they?
Yeah. He's a psychopath.
Dad may have been an alcoholic.
Sociopath? Right. Dad was an alcoholic. Maybe, probably. Oh, he drank because of William.
Well, maybe.
That's what he said. That's what William said.
I mean, that's what the alcoholic says, right?
Right, of course, yeah. My mom drinks all the time because of me.
So we have Dad confronting William about getting thrown out of school, and he got thrown out of school. Now, William's like, but the other kid said that you made fun of me and said you were an alcoholic or a drunk or whatever.
Right.
But then William winds up like breaking the kid's face and his arm.
His arm, yeah.
His arm and his face.
He broke his face?
He knocked a bunch of his teeth out.
Oh, right, yeah. He should have knocked all of his teeth out.
And so you're still expecting Dad to just like wheel around and punch the kid. No, I guess that's
a little violent.
But he didn't. He doesn't punch Kid William. He's just like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Dad seemed like he was pretty stable. Maybe an alcoholic anyway, but probably not a bad dad.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is.
I feel so bad that he said that for that kid.
What the hell is wrong with you? We've said that.
We've said that. And then I feel so guilty afterwards. But God, what is wrong with them?
We love our children.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, old William in white, is watching all of this. So we're finding out that maybe William's been a psychopath his whole life, right? But he says something like, I know what I have to do now. And when we come back to William later in the episode, what he has to do apparently is grotesquely murder
all of himself.
All of the other Williams.
Right.
Which Luke did cut off Luke's head.
He did, yeah.
It was Darth Vader Luke.
Right.
Uh-huh. I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Same.
You kill yourself to grow.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I see where I could see where that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of all of your past people, selves.
Clean slate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess so. So Willie kills all the Williams, and then he says he has been trapped. So trapped, but he's free now. He's talking to Delos, of course. He doesn't kill Delos. That was interesting.
I know.
I guess there's no point. He's trying to kill his bad sides.
Right.
But he says, everything we've done has led to this. And he finally understands his purpose, which is to be the good guy.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Well, is it possible? That's a philosophical question.
Well, back when I was younger and used to follow pro wrestling, they would call that a face turn, right? Mm-hmm. You could be a heel or a face. And sometimes, different characters would switch around all the time. Some characters might be villains forever. Some characters might be heroes forever, but some would flip back and forth. They'd be a bad guy for a while, then a good guy for a while. But this seems like William is trying to make a hard turn. Or he just thinks he's going to be the good guy. He's kind of crazy. Right.
He might just think everything I've done is good and I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and
it's gracious of you.
I will gladly watch William become good again. That'd be a nice turn.
Would be interesting. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end of this, then he comes out of his vision because his goggles get taken off.
Right.
And who's there?
Bernard.
And?
Ashley.
Yep.
Now, how long was he there? The moment they're like, they must have left him here, I suddenly thought of Rick being left in the hospital in Walking Dead during the zombie apocalypse.
Maybe. Now, we don't...
His hair was a little longer. We should see how long his hair was when he started.
Okay.
Because his hair was like down to here.
Well, I think a beard would be a good indicator. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because he was clean shaven in his visions. So if we see him next episode and he has a beard, then he was in there for a while.
Well, let's just look at when he started. I'm going to look.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh man, what was I going to say?
Sorry.
Something about Bernard and Ashley. I don't know. There was something else, but with Bernard and Ashley. Oh, where is he? That was the question I was thinking.
He's in the asylum still.
Is he in an asylum? I don't think he's in an asylum.
You think he's in
So there was this whole thing. It all went by very fast with Charlotte, and she was transmitting data, and we saw William's face flash up on the screen, and she said something about the tracker when she called Dolores. We'll get into all this, but it all went by really fast. But in the midst of transmitting data and seeing William's face flash up, somehow that turned into Charlotte finding the pearls. So William could be somewhere on the Delos grounds or Sirac's laboratory or wherever they are. He could, I don't think he's in an asylum. I think when Charlotte captured him and had people haul him away, I don't think that was anything to do with medical anything. I think that was just Sirac putting him away. Mm-hmm. And he's pretty close to where all the action is. Because then there was all the action. And we know that apparently this facility got abandoned. So if the facility got abandoned, it's not likely to only be because of the Rehoboam chaos. It's probably because there was a lot of other killing going on. I'm thinking.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that matters for anything, but I don't think he's in a hospital.
Right. I tend to agree with you.
Even that first group therapy session could have been part of his AR goggle vision. Mm-hmm.
Or his implant for all that.
Eventually he just broke down and had his own thing, his own experience. Mm-hmm. So that was it for William. That took a while. It was
pretty interesting.
I didn't think that would take 20 plus minutes to go through, but it was. There's a lot to think about there. Mm-hmm. And is he a robot? Does the presence of Bernard and Ashley, if they're the rescue team, and Ashley's whole purpose in being is to protect all the robots, what does that say about William?
I still don't understand how we saw the adamantium skeleton of Dolores and how if he was a robot, there wouldn't be adamantium fingers underneath all of that flesh.
Well, but it seems like there's the mesh process of the frame build, but maybe that was just Mark 1 because now it's the melt process.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
We've seen something with Dolores and some kind of mesh in many previews of this season's episodes, and maybe that's still going to happen. But but when we saw it before, that was like the first iteration. Dolores was the first robot they ever made work properly, right? So that had the mesh framework. But now when they print the bodies,
they have I got it. Yeah. It's like
skin and veins and bones, and they're so realistic. So it could still go either way. I'm fucking William.
Fucking William.
Maeve. When we first see Maeve, She's having a flashback with her kid and holding hands. Same thing we've seen a million times, but then something's wrong.
She realizes.
It's Sirach. He's there. He's trying to convince her to help him again. She says she wants help. And he says, okay, but don't fuck this up again. This is your last shot, basically. And all of a sudden, she's in Warworld.
Right.
Nazi land.
I thought she's going to go back and get Hector.
That's what it seemed like. And, well, I mean, she did, but first she just starts killing Nazis.
Everybody, right.
Just for fun, I guess. She just...
Exercise. She needed to work out.
If I had the option to just murder a bunch of Nazis, I mean, it would be hard to pass up that opportunity, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. So I wrote Maeve murders Nazi until Lee appears. Murders Nazis until Lee appears. So then they go for a drink. Cool. And she tells him she's waiting for her new body. All right. This all starts to make sense because she got all killed, murdered. So she's waiting for her new body to be printed. And then there's this wavy distortion thingy. And she says she's being moved. She's very aware of what's happening around her. And she can still see some of the outside world somehow.
Right. Yeah. She just like turns off the layer.
Yeah. And she says she's going to have a reunion with some old friends. So there could still be more surprises to come. I'm still hoping for Armistice. Because she's awesome. But we do see one core get slipped into place, and then and there was also a mangled looking core.
Right, all messed up.
Fucked up. Which we find out eventually was a Dolores core, but we'll come to that. Yes?
No, we'll come to that. Never mind.
All right. So as she's talking about her reunion with old friends, we see the cores in the real world. We also get a shot of cold storage back at seemingly way across the universe. I don't know. And someone finds Hector's body. And then they say they're going to destroy all the rest of the bodies. It's
interesting that she said, we're home when she was being moved.
Yeah.
Where is home?
Yeah, what is home? I don't know.
Is it... Well, it's wherever Charlotte was, right? Good question.
Well, if she meant a physical location, or maybe she just meant that they moved her from one server to another server and she's happy about it. But none of those servers would be home.
No, I think it means something special.
Yeah. Very weird. And then as they're showing us that they found Hector's body, Hector arrives in Warworld. Now he's big bushy beard Hector. And he's still in character. So Dolores does something that I immediately hearkened to.
Maeve?
What? Oh, Maeve. Sorry. Maeve does something that I immediately hearkened to the Vulcan mind meld that we saw in like Star Trek 2 or 3 or whatever that was. Right? Like she grabs his face with her fingertips and starts reprogramming him, I guess. And she turns him back into old school Hector. Yay! We love Hector.
Yes, we do.
Hey now. What was my last note about that stuff? Or maybe that was it. Hector comes back to normal. Yeah, I guess that was it. So we're going to come back to the Maeve stuff, of course. But for the moment, all we need to know is that Hector's better. Yay for Hector.
He's so tall.
And handsome. So handsome.
And dark. I like it.
I'm growing a big beard like his. It's my Corona beard.
Sexy. Well, it's not so sexy when you call it Corona beard. I just picture those little things all stuck in it. Those little coronavirus looking things that are all over, you know?
Gross.
Little pokies on the outside.
I'd have to shave that off if that was the case.
They're like sticker burrs.
Okay. All right. So let's flash over to San Francisco, home of Rice-A-Roni.
Right. It's a San Francisco treat.
Love it so much. And in this case, also Charlotte. Or Charlores, or Halores, whatever you want to call her. But Char, she is with her son. There's chaos everywhere. You notice someone jumping out of a window and landing right behind them.
I don't know if that's what it was or just a giant blanket. That's what it looked like,
except it was falling very slowly. It was too slow.
Maybe they slowed it down so we could see it.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think it was too slow. I think it...
Strange.
Something else.
My eyes were drawn to the graffiti that someone was spray painting on the wall.
Right.
Which looked very similar to, though not quite, like the maze.
Did you compare it?
I haven't had time for that. We just watched the episode.
Okay. I just thought maybe you pulled it up.
But I feel like it had sort of a pentagram border around the outside, and the maze was like in a circle. So I don't think it's exactly the same, but it's a little too similar for us to be seeing that on the show. So watch for more of that, I guess. Could just be a coincidence. I don't know. Or maybe it just came out of someone as an artistic vision because they just figured out who they really are, and that's all the maze is all about, right?
Right.
Finding your purpose.
That's what I took from it.
Mm-hmm. I bet it is. So she takes the kid to her ex. No.
Well, did it have the man in the middle?
Well, it had something in the middle, but it wasn't circular shaped.
I thought it was.
Damn it. Well, look, we'll figure it out. Was or wasn't. You decide.
It was
audience.
A maze.
It looked like the maze, I thought. They go to, I believe his name is Jacob Hale. That's her ex. She says she has to get to work, and he's like, what the fuck? You can't just go to work now. But it looks like they kind of want to work things out. Like, they're not really sure what their status is. They hug and hold hands a little bit. Everything's very sweet. Not very Charlotte-like at all.
Right. He's like, all right, this is like the woman I wanted to marry.
Right. She has feelings and shit. But Charlotte has to go to work. So she talks to her guy. Can't remember his name, though it doesn't really matter anymore. They're about to vote on the takeover bid. And then all of a sudden, that guy gets shot just straight in the head by what is pretty clearly Sirach's men.
Right.
They hand her a phone. It's Sirach on the line. He says he's on his way, and he's looking forward to it. So there's nothing she can do to stop the takeover bid now.
Kind of crazy way to do business. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if that's how business was done all the time?
I think it often is. But Sirach said himself that the data leak has actually made this a lot easier because you could just kill someone in the street now and no one really notices because there's dead bodies all over the place. Mm-hmm. So he's got that going for him. So Charlotte gets in a little car and calls real Dolores.
Now, isn't she?
Are they all Dolores?
Is there a way for them to know that he's not like recording everything they do? Because robo him.
She had a special phone. She has her normal phone, and then she pulled out this little, very slim silver thing and held that up to her ear when she was talking to Dolores.
Yeah, but he's got like access to the cars.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but Dolores has a plan. Mm-hmm. She's got a plan. She knows what she's doing. All
right.
But we know that Connell's was a copy of Dolores, and we know that who else is a copy of Dolores? Charlotte. We know that Charlotte's a copy of. No, wait, not Charlotte. Who was the other person that fessed up to being? Musashi.
Right.
He fessed up to being a copy of Dolores. So we know that Dolores copied herself, but we're still not really sure who Charlotte is.
Right. Now we're back to thinking maybe Teddy.
I'm thinking maybe Teddy, because they have this conversation, like Charlotte's kind of freaking out because everything's falling apart.
I don't know that we got confirmation before that Charlotte actually was Dolores. They were calling her Charlores in the...
Oh, that's true. Halores.
Or Halores, right. Huh. But maybe they're just calling her that because that's this episode.
She gives them the you are mine and I am yours thing.
Right.
That really sounds romantic. Like something she'd say to Teddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Charlotte's supposed to go back in there and get all the host-making data from Delos before Sirach goes crazy on their stuff. So there's that. He arrives at Delos. He immediately locks down the facility and says, go get the assets, whatever that means. And then we're in a boardroom. He says he wants all of the intellectual property erased. Only keep the encrypted data. Or the encryption key. They have the key and they're looking for the data, or they have the data. No. He says only keep the encryption key or something like that, which I think is, again, all about the stuff that Dolores has in her head, right? That's his like Rehoboam 2.0. That's what this is all about.
Which is everybody's makeup.
I believe so.
All the rich people's makeup.
I think so. Or it's a copy of all the robot brains and how they work. I'm not sure which one he's looking for here. He hasn't.
I think it's
really
the
been
people thing, because he's missing some people in his database.
Well, his database
all about filling
is imperfect in some fashion,
right? I mean, you can't have dirty data.
Don't you get your dirt on my data? No, ma'am. And he says that there is a host in their midst and they better start testing all employees for lapses, stuff where they can't answer questions in a way that matches what Rehoboam knows. And they're going to find the mole. Charlotte goes off on her own, starts downloading data, which downloads really quickly. A guy catches her, so she has to kill that guy. Mm-hmm. Cool. Way to go.
It reminds me of Hitman.
Yeah. Hitman video game. Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. Charlotte then we cut to Charlotte's office after killing that dude, and she's now uploading data and was sending it somewhere. And that's when we saw William's face flash up. So did she send a bunch of data at him in an email? Did she send it directly to his brain because he's a robot?
Right.
What happened? It was not clear.
I don't know.
But she did upload data. Cool. So that happened. And then that's when we were talking about this before. She says something about the tracker in the blood, and then she finds the facility where they're printing bodies, and she knows that Maeve is there. She figured all that out while sending stuff seemingly to William. That's why I think maybe they're all in the same facility the whole time. I'm not sure. I
don't know now anymore.
Yeah. And she does mention that they recovered Connell's pearl. And that's why I started mixing these two stories together, because it starts flashing between Charlotte's story and Maeve's story and back and forth and back and forth. Because Connell's pearl
is Dolores.
Is really Dolores. So then all of a sudden Maeve's in a room, walks down into one of those basement labs. It looks like it's the same room from the park. And Dolores is in there. She's in the sim. She's naked. Woohoo!
Now.
Yeah.
The pearl is a physical thing.
Yes.
Maeve is still inside the system.
Yes.
How? Okay, wait. Where is the pearl? How did she recover it? Who has it? Where is it?
Wait, who's she?
Maeve.
Maeve didn't recover a pearl.
Who?
Sirach.
Okay.
So
Sirach recovered Connell's pearl.
Connell's blew himself up, remember? He did that whole 9/11 type thing up there in that office building.
Right.
So Connell's blew himself up, and that's why. So the pearls are full of all the data, but as we see in this episode, they're kind of fragile. So they put him inside that hard plastic shell, which is seemingly indestructible. Mm-hmm. That was what we saw was the mangled hard plastic shell. That's Connell's. Dolores. Conlores.
Right.
Scotchlores.
So Sirach recovered that.
Yes.
And plugged it in?
Yes. Plugged it into the sim that Maeve is in so that Maeve could talk to Dolores.
Okay. I understand.
That's what that was all about, was to try to get information out of Dolores.
Okay.
And then Hector's there, so they've got a few different active pearls right now.
Lee is there.
Well, Lee is just programmed into the simulation.
He's just like
He's not
Jeeves.
A pearl. He's... yeah, I guess so. You can ask him anything. He'll search for all your results. Yeah, so we have naked Dolores in a chair, which is always nice to see again. And they're going to have a talk. Blah, blah, blah. Maeve's sort of laying into Dolores about how much power she has and how that's not right to have all this knowledge and have all the info and the key and da-da-da. And Dolores is like, who are you to talk? You can reprogram us with your brain.
You're no saint.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want me to do what's right, but you don't want to do what's right.
Mm-hmm. And Dolores starts getting all philosophical, says, we're not saints, we're not villains, we're just survivors. Mm-hmm. Now, all Maeve wants to do is get to her daughter.
Right.
She could do that.
Have some peace.
Yeah. She could do that if she got the encryption key and figured out where the data was sent. She could do that if she makes Sirach happy and he upholds his part of the bargain. Which, would he? I mean, we don't really know, but he might. There's a couple paths for her to get to the daughter, but it all runs through Dolores. That's the problem. But that's also Dolores Prime. This is a copy of Dolores who does not have that information, I don't think.
She seems to know what's going on.
Well, she knew what was going on. She winds up talking about that, how they were the same at one point, the Dolorii, but then they went off on their own little paths.
Right. But how does she know that?
Who?
Okay, so every time they build a new body, there's a new pearl, and then that new pearl just accumulates more and more experiences and stuff so that it changes them.
Well, we saw Dolores in one of the flashbacks had like 5 pearls stacked up on the table. So then she started printing bodies for the people she was going to replace. So at whatever point she made a copy of her brain, they were all the same. But then Dolores is out meeting Caleb and, Charlores. He's being a bodyguard and having different experiences,
How did, and she understands or knows how to act like these people because she read their books.
Yes.
Is she going back to this library and reading a new book, or she has all the books in her? She is the library. I think
she might have all the books, but she specifically studied certain books, Liam and Connell's, and, either people that she wanted to replace or people that she needed to manipulate.
Okie doke.
Mm-hmm. That guy from the very beginning of season 1, the one who beat his wife, and then she stole all his money. Mm-hmm. Like, she read his book. She read a lot of these books. All right, so they're talking. Maeve and Dolores are seemingly at an impasse, but whatever. They're having their little philosophical discussion. Meanwhile, Charlotte goes, is in her office, gets a gun, calls Jacob, her ex, tells him to stay put. She's going to be there in 30 minutes. Sirach, just as Charlotte said, she had one more thing to do, probably involving the pearls. Had one more thing to do. She'll be there soon. But she gets called into a board meeting. And Sirach found the host, and it's Charlotte, because he's been watching her, and she checked up on her kid. Real Charlotte didn't love anyone.
Yeah, she should have just left when she had the chance.
Like, I'm busy right now. I got a conflict on my calendar.
Kick that guy's ass that was in the elevator with her and then just leave.
Oh, that was later. No, the lady that said board meeting was a lady. She could have kicked the lady's ass. But she could have just been like, I'm sorry, I don't have time.
I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute.
Be there 1 second. I gotta take a dump. Yeah. Just say something that would make her really uncomfortable so she can go away. Yeah, diarrhea.
And I'm on my period.
It's just shit and blood everywhere. Yes. And the lady starts to sweat, and she's like, I'll just go, I'll go tell Sirach you'll be there in a minute. Right. If only we were in this world, we would have gotten through all these challenges much more smoothly than Charlores did. Or
she held it together pretty well.
If she's not Charlotte.
For being an emotional person.
Dolores, now,
Charlores or Helores. She held it together very well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, she was only acting, but still.
Well, but she's feeling real emotions. Mm-hmm. And she was keeping it together. Okay, so real Charlotte would not have checked on her son. There was a quick cut while he's giving his little victory speech to all the cold storage bodies getting torched. He gives her these violent delights have violent ends line. And this dude's going through Charlotte's purse, and there's this big canister in there that is totally suspicious.
All right, he just takes it out, and he's like, what's this? Weird, I'll just set it on the table, and I'll deal with that a little bit later.
Yep. And that was Charlotte's way out. She gassed the room. She tries to kill Sirach, but of course he's not actually there.
Of course.
Of course. One of his illusions.
And instead he's back in her office.
Wait a second. Didn't those illusions require wearing glasses to see them?
Yes.
Well, Charlotte saw it, and she wasn't wearing glasses.
I don't know.
Goddamn science fiction.
Maybe it's because she's a robot. Nobody else can actually see him. But she needed them in
the earlier scene. I spy an inconsistency. All right. Anyway, he's not really there. So then comes the big escape scene. She starts shooting people right in the face. It's awesome.
Yeah, she's a good shot.
Mm-hmm. There was the encounter in the elevator. I liked that one. Mm-hmm. I felt like that was very like Winter Soldier. Like there's that scene where Captain America's in the elevator with a bunch of Hydra agents and they're all playing it cool. But then eventually someone's got to make a move. I kind of felt like it was like that. Just a little bit. But she kicks that guy's ass, of course. And she winds up in the printing room.
Yeah, she's too slow. Hurry up, Charlores.
Yeah.
God, she takes forever.
With that super brain.
I know. She's like pondering.
Sort of meandering.
Right.
It's weird that she wasn't being chased at that point.
I know. Especially in that room.
Uh-huh. It's the most valuable room right now. All right. So then we flash back to Dolores and Maeve in the simulation. Maeve's trying to make her case of like, how can I know that my daughter will be safe if I just let you do what you're going to do?
Hurry up, people.
Why don't you just trust me with the key? And no, you work for Serac. You can't be trusted with the key.
Back and forth and back and forth.
So, and then this is that whole divergence thing where Dolores in the chair is saying that she doesn't really know what real Dolores is, Dolores Prime, what Dolores Prime's plans are. Mm-hmm. But she can take some guesses because they're the same person.
And she has the key still in her head, right? Does she have the key?
Dolores Prime does. We don't know if the other Dolorii do.
Maeve asked her to give it to her, and she's like, I can't do that. Are you crazy?
Maybe she does. But there's one thing that naked Dolores knows, which is that Dolores Prime would definitely want to stop the printing of these new robot bodies. And then we see Charlotte. Charlotte takes a pearl, unplugs it from the system, pulls it out of its little plastic shell.
There goes Hector.
Yeah. And Hector is donezo. I don't think we're going to see him again.
Yes, we will.
Well,
no, they squished it. She squished it.
She squished the pearl, yeah.
Bitch.
There might be a backup of him somewhere.
I hope so.
Yeah.
He's too good to lose.
Charlotte's under fire. She steals the Dolores pearl. She unplugs it from the system, so then naked chair Dolores slumps over. But then eventually she's surrounded. She lays down her gun, and she's like, this is just a cell phone in my hand. But she pushes a button that activates the protection subroutine. Mm-hmm. And then who comes in?
Transformers. More than meets the eye.
That's right. It's Chekhov's gun. Didn't I say that? In the first episode, they're going to show us that riot control robot because we're going to see it in the final act or something close to it. And that's what it was all about.
And now it's Charlotte's buddy.
Yeah, he's cute too.
He's kind of cute. Reminds me of the scary one with Caleb.
What?
Caleb's robot buddy that was at work.
Oh, yeah.
They give him a little personality.
My brain was somewhere completely different. I was thinking like he kind of reminded me of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah,
like he's really a snuggly guy, but if you piss him off, he's gonna wreck shit.
Yeah.
But he really just wants to pick up Charlotte and have a snuggle and go off and play video games together.
Yeah, he's cute.
I wonder whatever happened to him. He killed some people for sure.
Hopefully we'll see him again.
I hope so. It'd be a shame if he was done. If that's the only time we see him. There's still 2 episodes left. I want more Riot Control Robot. Right. So Charlotte gets shot a few times, but gets away. She's hurt. And then we have our final 2 Maeve Charlotte scenes. We have Maeve getting out of her milk bath. We see her get injected with life juice. I don't know. Maybe blood, I guess. I mean, fake, whatever that plasma, yeah. Because it turns her alabaster skin. You see the veins, and then it starts getting color all over. It's a great effect. And she gets out of her milk bath, and then she's staring at another bed full of milk. So was that another ally she's about to get, or was she just getting angry because that's where Hector was supposed to be emerging? I'm not sure. But no, they weren't making a body for Hector. They were pulling him out of cold storage. They were pulling Hector out of cold storage. So that's probably someone else that's coming out. Who is it?
I don't know.
Well, Maeve said she was going to have a reunion with old friends, so could be Armistice. You saw the mangled pearl and you were thinking it was Clementine, but that turned out to be
Dolores,
the charred Scotchlores.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if Hector's gone, who was our next closest person? It was Clementine. Next after that was
Maeve.
She didn't really know
Maeve
Armistice.
And Clem, right. Armistice was Hector's friend. You know.
What about the Indian?
Oh, no, he got away. Wait, did he get away?
He's in the New World.
But did he get into the New World, or did everyone else get into New World and he was like,
no, I think he did.
Did he? Okay.
I think so.
Well, he wouldn't be there then. Because
we don't know where the New World is.
He got copied into the Forge. And then that was sent into space. And only Dolores has the key and the location. Yes.
The Forge. It's like the mirror. What's it called?
What?
Superman mirror in space.
Oh, the negative zone?
No. The no zone.
Might have been called the negative zone.
No, that's not the negative zone.
Damn it.
Oh.
Well, who?
Anyway.
Well, start talking about Charlotte getting her kid while I figure out what that's called.
Oh my God. Of course we knew what was going to happen. It was leading up to that the entire episode, actually the entire season. She and her husband and the kid are like running for their lives. She's like, hurry up. I'll protect you. I promise. Nobody's going to hurt you.
All right. Before you say what happens.
Okay.
The Phantom Zone.
The Phantom Zone.
There you go.
Yes, that's where the data is. The Forge is the Phantom Zone.
It sure is. All right. So they're going to go somewhere no one will find them. They drive
hop
away.
In their Humvee or whatever that car is.
Whatever it is. Future car.
Don't worry, Albert.
Yep. And then some beardy guy coming out from the shadows and
we've seen him before, yeah.
Hey,
it's
bro,
all done.
We did it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just leaves, which seemed kind of stupid. But villains are dumb. What are you going to do?
Yeah. They're lazy.
So probably the kid didn't make it.
No, poor little boy.
I don't think kid and husband made it, but
Charlores did.
Charlotte did.
She looks
scorched.
Like a scorched, yeah.
Like a scorched. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here we are again. I really think that someone from the creative team at Westworld just needs to out themselves as being a huge Fallout fan. Because even though anything could happen when someone gets exploded and lit on fire and stuff, you could have just pulled that effect from there. But as she was crawling out, and she's still glowing and on fire.
But
I'm just saying.
That's exactly what would happen, though, in real life.
Like, indistinguishable from the in-game graphics of Fallout 76. Like, we've been saying Fallout 4...
is based on real life.
Well, okay, but remember the whole thing with Fallout 4 and the synths from that video game and how it was like an identical lab and setup and printing mechanism and everything to what we saw in Westworld Season 1. And it just seemed like they lifted it straight out of Fallout 4 and dropped it into the show.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily even the writers. That could just be the visual effects guys that are like, hey, and they might not have even been saying like, hey, let's take it from Fallout. It could have just been they played Fallout 4 and it just was in their head. And they were like, this is how it would look to print a host.
Or that's what human beings think the future will look like.
But in Fallout 76, there are these very prominent villains called the Scorched, and they are hairless and they're like always on fire.
They're all
horribly burned and they look exactly like what Charlotte looked like in that scene.
I love how they made her like glowy.
Well, yeah, that's why it looked like the Scorch. She wasn't just a burned body. She was still like
burning,
lava.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So
she needs to go get cleaned up. Do you think that she's going to, how do you handle this? Is like she going to go home and say, okay, somebody take my pearl out. I need to be reprinted because I am not living like this.
Well, who's going to reprint her now? Dolores doesn't have time for that shit.
We got to figure that out. How did they do that?
Well, I think that one in Bernard's house has been compromised, first of all, because Sirach's been there. And also, I think it took a long time to print a new body. I think this is it. I think the next 2 episodes, whatever we see of Charlotte...
I think she's going to be gone?
I think she's going to look like this. And I don't think she's going to take a breath and stop and be like, let me plan out my next move. I think she's going to go berserker rage. And just try to kill everyone that she can find. Maybe not mindlessly, not like mindless rage, but
maybe
she's just going to be a killing
cream and
machine.
cover up on and she'll be all right. Some burn cream, put some cover up in there to tint it.
She could go full bodysuit like Deadpool. He kind of looked like that.
That would be cool. Glowing. Yes.
Yeah. Her body will cool eventually, and then she'll just be a scarred mess.
That'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. She'd look nice in a suit like that.
And with like katanas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Slicing up Sirach's men.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Well, we won't know for a few more days, but we will know soon. There's only 2 episodes left.
Right. And next week, we watched the preview for next week. Do we want to mention anything?
Go ahead. I didn't get much out of it.
Well, I mean, it seems to be going to be focusing on Caleb's journey.
Yeah. Caleb's something.
Mostly.
A lot of flashbacks from the look of it, a lot of taking drugs from the look of it.
Right. So I think we're going to get to find out exactly what that implant is.
I hope so.
And how it reacts and what the government can actually do with it.
Mm-hmm. Or not the government, maybe just Serac.
Whoever made those implants. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was the government, but maybe those are false
implants,
false memories.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everything about him could be fake. I think that's what we're going to find out, but I don't know. We still have the Enrico Colantani puzzle. The guy that we saw like getting tortured in Caleb's last flashback.
Oh, I don't think they're going to. Well, maybe they will.
They got to bring that around. They got to bring that back. So if we're going to find out Caleb's real story, I think wasn't even ever in the military or not for like he never saw combat in Russia. I don't think his partner existed. And he was made to do something bad by Serac and then erased. And then,
given this
metaphorically buried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Under this new personality. That's what I think.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yes, we will.
He is a capable fighter. So one way or another, he had some training. Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's next week. Probably just all Caleb leading into the big finale, but there will be revelations in all of that. Revelations about what Serac's really doing, what Serac's really capable of.
Right. Well, they better wrap it up.
Yep.
Or not, because they could save it for a whole nother season.
Finale.
It could be 2-hour finale and we don't find out anything.
It could be a 2-hour finale of just nothing but like William in a white shirt yelling at people, and then
William's going to get out.
Well, yeah. But
he's going to get out.
He's the man in white now.
And what is he going to do? And if he has the data, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Does William have all this data now? Is he a fucking robot? Can we just find that out? Is he Dolores? God. No, he's not Dolores.
Okay.
He's a robot of his own accord.
Okay.
I think. Something's got to explain the fidelity test at the end of season 2. So either that's a different copy of William or just a copy of William.
We should go back and look at that.
The whole time. Yeah.
Maybe he'll be wearing a glove.
Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah. You know what? Let's go watch that. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
All right. So until then, just keep asking yourself.
Are you real?
Yeah. That's your homework.
Go do your own fidelity test.
Do your fidelity test. Where most of us are trapped at home anyway. Anything could be fake or
everything
real at
is
this
fake.
Point. Yeah.
Life is not real.
You've been saying we're in the Matrix since like the first podcast we ever did, I think.
Since the day we met.
Maybe. So it's all coming to a head now. This is our crazy vision collapsing upon itself.
Good night, everybody.
Anyway, wash your hands.
Yeah.